Hey guys, Harry here, back with another Bricklaying vlog. It's part 5 I think, if I'm not mistaken. We're just finishing off this band lift. Well, it's on the Creamy Band Lift series, as I regrettably named. So anyway, today in this video, I'm just finishing off a few clips from last video, but I do go into the next day. So after the first probably 10 minutes, we'll be back. You'll be seeing footage of my second day running in the Gable. So the first footage was me doing the first 6 or 7 course off of a big corner I built, which I've been experimenting obviously with big corners with profiles, and I'm really liking it. It's one of them things that it only sort of is suitable if you've either got really dry bricks or really like wet soapy bricks like we're using. It does obviously tailor to gang size, but I've seen a lot of gangs do it like this, even 2 brick layers, or 2-in-1 gangs and 2-in-2s and stuff like that. So the big corners are quite good if you haven't always got the fastest labourer and they can only load out corners first. It's one of the big things to get some of the awkward stuff out of the way, and especially with the houses I'm building at the moment, they have a banding course basically in the middle of your gables on your band lift. So basically when you get to sill height, there's a banding course before that with the contrasting brick. The particular brick's like a very dry oldie worldy brick, so obviously what I've been used to using, so that's no issue. And then it has like a little coin banding brick at the it's not a coin really, but it's just, I call it a coin because it's on a corner, but it's just a banding corner, couple of bricks obviously. 6 course up after that, so that's normally your height you go to. I've been going a little bit higher on these gables just because of on this site particularly they're struggling for scaffold lifts. They haven't really got enough scaffolders, or the scaffolders they've got aren't really fast enough to keep up everyone's lifts. But luckily this week another 2 gangs jacked up, so there's plenty to go at. So we're back down to 3 or 4 gangs on this site, but there's 3 one-on-ones and then another gang, so plenty of work for everyone. We've had a lot of brick deliveries as well, so we're all stocked up on bricks as well, because we're running low on these red and blacks that I'm laying, like a multi, and they're called multi-reds, but they're just red and blacks I would call them. Burnt, they're called something burnt or something like that. They're bought by Marshalls, they're a Marshall concrete brick. But yeah, I've not really had any troubles with them sinking or rolling. But you just got to go steady. Obviously with pick and dip, you put in a lot of mortar into those holes because you're not putting any grooves in, so they don't have a tendency to float when you use pick and dip with concrete. So it's something I recommend if you're going to use concretes, or even going to lay. Obviously concrete commons are a bit different because obviously they don't have a frog, or they don't have any holes in, but if you're going to lay a concrete brick that does have a frog or holes, definitely pick and dip's the way to go. And the mortar, it doesn't have to be super stiff, but it doesn't want to be wet. You don't want to be using your mortar that's ideal for thermalites on bricks. You've really got to shove a few thermalites in that sort of mortar if you're going to be using it for bricks. Ready mix is one of the things that is pretty consistently wet when it turns up brand new, but a lot of the time the over sort of bucket, and it comes at the wrong time. So a lot of times the ready mix comes at like 1-2 o'clock, and then you're using the ready mix from the previous day all day, and then you're using basically every time you're using ready mix it's basically a day old. But it is ideal really for this type of brick, and we've had 2 or 3 hot days this week. I've only worked 2 days so far because I had Monday off with the pest control people. I didn't tell work that. I actually told them that it was a plumber, but it's pest control. I didn't want to disclose that. But an update on that as well. We've got rid of. We're pretty 99% sure we've got rid of them all. Basically, the pest control man sort of laughed at me and said it was a mild case, and I probably really didn't need him, but it was one of the things, we got it in his head, we got paranoid, we thought they were everywhere, when it turns out there wasn't that many of them, but it needed professional treatment. It turned out I was doing the wrong thing. When if you ever get fleas, do not keep hoovering. Hoover once, then spray your insecticide and leave it, because that's what if you hoover the insecticide after you've sprayed it, it basically does nothing. You know, it gets hoovered up with the hoover particles. So, you know, so I'm glad we fixed that. We're all back moved in. The house was spotless, by the way, when they came, so they couldn't even find a flea for a good half an hour. So it took them a bit longer to, you know, to really give it an honest assessment and give me like an aftermath report. So yeah, so that's all going. It's all good, you know, everything back in the house, you know, we're not staying at a friend's anymore, so it's fucking back to business as usual. Just, you know, I can get back on my PlayStation finally, but I've not had time because obviously basically just moving everything back and getting the house back to normal, which has been nice. So yeah, but you know, with ready mix, you know, like it comes consistently wet, so we just have to shove a few thermalites in it, and within about 15 minutes it's perfect. It can be used on anything. Either you just want to moderate how many thermalites you put in. If you want it, you know, if it's pretty, you know, damp weather, you know, I'd put 4 or 5 thermalites in, stab them right to the bottom, and within about 15 minutes, if you go for a cup of tea or, you know, or whatnot, you do a bit of loading out, 15 minutes, it's perfect. Give it a mix round, perfect. If you just want it to use on, you know, obviously just thermalite blocks, you don't have to do anything with it normally. And obviously we do get it sometimes where it's a bit stiff, so, you know, it needs knocking up. I've been doing that for the most part. In this video, what you've been watching here, I laid about 800 bricks, including the banders. So I did half a Gable of banders and, you know, 800, you know, obviously including that, so 800 normal any sort of bricks in general. So yeah, it was, these bricks, you can get them down. You know, I know guys sort of don't like laying concretes, but Jesus, just lay them different. You know, try pick and dip. You know, try different ways. It's probably the only way, you know, to lay these. I wouldn't want to lay these traditional. I built, you know, even when I'm building corners, I use pick and dip building these, and obviously I use profiles, so it's not the same as building a corner freehand. But basically, sort of, you want to just limit the amount of freehand you do with these. But they have these dry banders in the middle to really keep the Gable solid. So if you can't keep 10 or 12 course plumb with these concretes, I don't know what to tell you. You just got to go a bit more steady, I suppose. You know, I could have laid probably more if these were clay bricks, but I like the fact that they don't go off too quick. I like the fact there's a bit of play in them. You know, that you can move them, they press really easy. Obviously, they're no fun to load out, obviously, but I've got multiple labourers to do that, so that's one of the downsides, I suppose. But also, we've got a bit of new news. We've got a new lad starting. He's doing a couple of day trial. He contacted me because he'd seen the YouTube, so I've got another lad who's in the pipeline, who's definitely, you know, going to start and is serious. But, you know, I need someone to fill in until then. And, you know, if this lad is as good as he says he is on the phone, you know, he'll have a full-time spot. So there'll be 3 of us full-time. And then, obviously, my old man might fill in for an odd day, or if we need a lift loading out in front, because there seems to be tons to go out on this site at the moment. It's 15 minutes from my house. There's a lot of lifts that need finishing, so I expect I'll have to take over another lift at some point, but it's looking like it's going to be day work if that is the case, because the lifts in general, in question have no meat left on them. They're all square up to joist, so I don't want to be taking any of those over. Luckily, I've got this lift will be done tomorrow. It'll be at Scaffold by the end of tomorrow. I've just got the block work to do today. I've got about 280 blocks to lay tomorrow, which I think I can do. I think if this lad's any good and he says he can lay blocks and he can lay to a line, if he's as good as he says he is, well, no problems getting that done. And then on Friday, we're loading out the other band lift that I finished off, you know, that you saw the block work video. Loading that one out to get that one to wall plate. And I think I should have, because I'm working Saturday this week, because I'm going away next week. I'm having 2 days off again. I've had 1 day off this week. I'm having 2 days off next week. So I said I'd do a Saturday just because I hardly worked recently. So I'm going to do a Saturday this week if the weather allows it. And if I get one Gable up on the other band, the other, fourth lift, should I say, on Friday, because there's not that much. I could easily get a Gable up and load it out Friday, and then on Saturday get another Gable up, because I think I'll be working on my own Saturday, because I don't think this new lad's want to work Saturday, by the sounds of it, and then I've only got the back and front to do, and obviously the bot work, I'll get the bot work done as I go. So back and front with soldiers, so with front on Monday, maybe back on Monday, get a bit of the front done and just clean off and tidy on the Tuesday. Get front, so I reckon Tuesday I'll be pretty much squared up. I think by Tuesday / Wednesday at max. Probably might spend Wednesday doing cleaning trays off, because they're going to pay us for that, so that might be Wednesday's job, and then maybe have an early finish. I'll see what there's to do, and then be back on this lift probably when I go back on the Monday. So Monday of next week, Monday of the week after, I'll be on this, squaring this one up, which will only be about a 3-day job, I reckon, because I've completely smashed it. I can't see it being a very big job. There's not that much to go at really on the fourth lift, because we've been taking them that high. And this is my biggest reason, because the band lifts where you make all your money, so I'd rather make it all in this lift and just have a little small job to square them all up to wall plate, and then I suppose after that, when this one's done, that other one will be ready for top out. So, and I think as a decent sized top out on the other one, and then I presume we'll be starting another lift. I would probably cop for one of these unless another gang finishes one first, which they probably will. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how fast they're going to get all the roofs on and stuff, so probably while waiting for a roof, probably I'll be squaring one of these up next to me. I don't want to do, but if I get the band lift afterwards, I'll take it. But there's 2 to square up, so we'll see. I'll see if how many other gangs turn up, and what's to go at next. But there's plenty of work in front of us. Plenty of work. It's just a matter of me finding a good labourer now, because the old man just isn't up to it anymore. Really, he struggles every day, and I was trying to emphasise to him that I have him doing a fraction of what I get these new lads in doing. He has an easy ride with me, to be honest, because I know he struggles doing even what I ask him to do now, so I can't really get him to do any more than he's doing now. So it's one of those. It's just a speed factor. He just don't get things done quick enough, and it's no fault of his. It's just his age, and that's why I need someone quicker to keep up with me. But yeah, so on this lift in general, I haven't really got a topic for today, but I'm just going to talk about the build more or less. As you can see, the block work was already done on this lift. The back and the gable was already done to Silite. I've obviously had to knock this front corner down, which was wrong. It has straight joints, three lots of straight joints in it, and obviously what I've had to drill ties in below, etc. I've all been paid for, so I'm happy about that. So decent guy I'm working for, because he understood that the lift was fucked and needed a lot of work, and we got paid for doing that. So it was it's a good sign of what's to come. If he's he knows the crack, basically. So with what we've had to do so far, I only had to take the front corner of the block work down. Well, the 2 front corners really, because they were both wrong. So I didn't end up building. I ended up building the brickwork first on this second sort of panel of it's sort of half of the front. It's basically half the front and the other half of the gable. I did in this second day. So I got the other gable up to full height, other part of the gable up to full height, and then I got this all the way around to banding course. So as you can see, I'm running the front in now, obviously the line running both ways, and I've got a profile off the end of the garage, where it obviously drops off because it's low level roof there. If you saw the tray video the other day, you'll see obviously how I explained all that, but I have a different way of doing those. I'm going to talk about actually building them instead of explaining them. As you can see here, I get to the end of a rack back, and what I should have done in hindsight, which is a beautiful thing, is instead of racking back just where it drops off, I should have walled round where it drops off, breach the cavity of it with his reinforcement, and because I use reinforcement of the lintel just because it was hanging over a little bit. I just want some extra support under there, but I just normally use about 3 or 4 tie wires and then some damp over them tie wires, stop the gobbo dropping through, and that's how I bridge the cavity. Especially these 128 cavities, they're pretty, it's 3 to 8, so it's like a 1 to 8 cavity. They're pretty massive, so you've got to sort of get some ties under there, stop your brick falling down. But what I'd have normally done is basically I'd have bridged the cavity, racked round about 2 or 3 bricks, and then just obviously done that little bit freehand. And then once I'd have built this whole I could have built the whole front all the way around up to sill height. So when I got to the front, I could have sat the front window on already, and I'd have done the same. with doing the trays on the other side, where I did that big rack back, but I'd have racked back further. I'd have tried to rack back a little bit further than I did, because at the time I didn't know I was actually taking this lift over. I thought I was just to help it getting that one gable up to height for the other plot, and it turned out I was actually taking the full lift. So I'd have done that a little bit different. I'd have built a bigger rack back, even if that meant using a little bit of like a fixed brick method for the first few course, measuring, bedding 1 brick on, bit of a dead man, fits brick in it, and doing tailing all the way across the lintel. And then because I did actually find a half in the back of this house, basically what had happened, I think the groundworkers, because of the back of the house didn't obviously join, it had a garage in the middle with a bit of a dog leg. They got the bond wrong, so they had an exact modular half in it. So I had to get over that at the back of this. So I was obviously, there's a few things that went wrong in this house which I got over, which hopefully when I do the next one, ban lift, because it'd probably be a ban lift my next drop after these 2 houses are done, with the amount of fucking houses they are at floor. Then I'll be able to see what just build things a bit different. So build the front all the way out of that big steel, so the front window can be sat on when I come to the front, and then the same at the other side, so the other front window can be sat on. And then it's just a case of profile up on your little corner that's already there, trays on, and then I could probably I wouldn't have much problem actually putting an internal profile on if it dropped on the right day. Otherwise I can just build it freehand easily enough. And on this front of this house, because obviously you're in real time, this all the brickwork on this is built to height. I'm just doing the block work. I'd have built the front. The front actually didn't over the front canopy, as you saw last video, didn't have a scaffold, but it did. They managed to get me one in today, as I was basically almost finished in it. So that slowed me down considerably, but I'd have done things a little bit different in that respect, to where I build most of the front with each gable, and most of and if there is an expansion in the front, it won't matter, because obviously I've built both sides of the front. And then if there is one in the gable, I can split up and build even more of the front as I go. And same with the back as well. I'd have tailed out a bigger rack back at the back. I'd have used I'd have set up another profile on and had my lines running both ways again, like I did with this front here. There's just a lot of things that could have sped me up by a good day. So I reckon with what time I've had on it so far, I could have sped myself up easily a day. If not more, with a few tweaks in how I approach the build. It's nothing to do with speed of laying the bricks. It's to do with organising what order you build things in. Makes things a lot quicker. That's a big reason why people don't understand always how to get stuff done. They might say to me, "Oh, you're not very fast," and I'm not the fastest bricklayer. I know that, but I'm just organised where I'll get things done and build things in a way to where it makes me fast. Not by actual trial speed, by actually just methods I use. So that's one of the things. But I'm definitely I'm not a fucking pro on housing. I did a lot of footings for years, and I've done a lot of garden walls. So for me, housing, it's one of them things where I'm just improving every day. Obviously I can build the houses, no problem. Nothing's an obstacle there. It's just speed in knowing how to what order to do things in. Luckily, obviously, the prices on this site are fantastic. So we're never losing money with sort of building things a bit backwards, or having to build things a bit, you know, non-ideal to how I would like to. But I'm just trying to make things as easy as possible. There's a lot of traditional ways people used to build houses when I was an apprentice, and there's just better ways to do them. There's better ways that I'm figuring out now, that, you know, it isn't always better to just do 2 gables, your back and your front, and, you know, do a lot of freehand at your front. You know, there's other ways where you can split it up to where you're smashing your gable in with your front, or you're running in a majority of your back with your front, with your gables and stuff like that. There's ways you can make it work to where you've never got a dead moment in your plot where you just fucking sat there tapping away freehand, laying 300 bricks in a day. You know, you don't want them days. You want to sort of split it up to where you're getting a lot of your house built in big runs. And luckily with this housing firm, there's not that much detail to break up the flow of the build, so it's been beneficial. And I'm enjoying building the houses as well. This is one thing that I was getting sick of doing. I was getting sick of building garages. I was getting sick of building footings, sick of building garden wall footings, garden walls. They're just fucking topping them off. Housing's been a massive refresher, and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. It's great having plenty to do as well. You know, cavities, you know, they can be a ball ache, but we just put a bit of 3x2 in them. Obviously, because a lot of these plots I've had to take over, the cavity trays have been already full. Nothing I can do about that. I can't clean them until I start knocking blocks out and, you know, smashing away at the cavities, which isn't my fault. There's nothing I can do there, so I haven't got to be worried about cleaning bottom trays and stuff. I've just had to keep the trays that I am walling over clean, and that hasn't been too much of an issue. You know, the 3x2 is one of the best. 3" by 2". If you can get 4x2, 4" by 2" is ideal. It's just not always possible to get. 4x1's alright, but I like to use 3x2 or 3x1. 3x2 is ideal, because if the gobbler drops on a 4x1, it can start flexing and snap. And, you know, 100mm, you've only got like, you know, with a 28mm cavity, 28mm, you know, it's only 10mm each side of that 4x1, and that can easily get caught on a few rogue snots or a tie wire. It's just harder to lift out the cavity when you ain't got that much space. But where 3", which is fucking, I don't even know my inches to millimeters, but it's, you know, 75mm or whatever. It's about 75mm or 80mm. It just covers, you know, 2/3 of the cavity, half the cavity, to where, you know, you're not going to be dropping snots. If they're going to fall off your brick, they'll land on that bit of wood. And as long as you're cleaning your snots off every, you know, 8 to 10 course, I do probably about every 10 course I'll clean all my snots off my lat and then move it up. I haven't been worrying so much on the gables, because that just drops in the bottom radon tray, but over the front and back trays I've been putting wood in, or over the meter box trays as well. I've been doing that as well. So when it comes to cavities, you know, I've always hated fucking that you have to have your cavities dead clean. I just think, what's the point? But I've had to really change my mindset over the years, and I find the wood method's always been the best. I got taught it years ago by putting wood in the cavities. Even sometimes a tiler's lat's enough. If you ain't got a piece of 3x2, tiler's lat's easy enough. Couple of them up, drop them in your cavity. You know, they won't catch as many snots as a 3x2, but it's one of the things that, you know, makes it so you get over your front and back trays after you've done all your brickwork, and you look and think, well, there's not much in there, there's a few crumbs. They can easily tapped out, you know, at the top lift. You can just easily clean them out. We'll light the top lift. You know, takes about 5 minutes each tray, couple hours, and basically all your ties will be rattled, all your trays are clean. You know, ideally do it when your labour is loading up, so you're not losing really much time there. And a lot of firms will pay you to do it as well. If it's not your plot, like for instance, these aren't our plots we've took over, so you know, we'll be getting paid to sort the bottom trays out and stuff like that, and tap any ties. So normally, you know, there is a pricing for it, but some firms, you know, it's all in the price. I've heard that old saying, it's all in the price. It means you're doing it for free. So yeah, yeah, that's been about it when it comes to the cavities, the housing. Really enjoying this. I like the fact as well there's a lot to do with the in-between lifts, you know, so when you're starting a lift there's a lot of preparation, getting your formers, stuff like that, you know, what things I used to do, you know, years ago, but obviously I got out of doing footings and stuff like that and walls, and I'm back sort of liking the organisation, getting there early as well. I get to site at 7 o'clock some mornings, normally 7:30, but sometimes I get there early, 7 o'clock, and I'll just, you know, spend time, you know, going around back of my block, my brickwork if I've done brickwork first, or sometimes I even brush the cavity now. Sometimes I even brush the cavity because these bricks as well, the back of these concretes have like big gaps in them. They all like perp joints. So if I brush it all, you can't even tell that, you know, maybe an odd perp or an odd bed didn't fall. Which I don't really have an issue with these, to be honest. Like when it comes to pick and dip and full perps, there's no issue whatsoever when you're doing pick and dip on these. You know, they've not been, you know, as long as your cavities look tidy, you know, no one's been pulling me for having empty joints, because I don't really have that many of them, you know what I mean. My joint's pretty much full. I make sure I try to sort of, you know, pull all the knots up the back of the brick, and then I just chop off the dust. Sometimes I'll brush the back of the cavity, but it's normally, I won't do it if I'm like sort of mid gable. I'll normally do it at the end where it's getting near the top, but normally I just chop everything off. Some of these advanced sites don't have bottom trays, but these do have a bottom radon tray, so I found when next time I do a bottom lift, which I'll get to eventually because there's that many fucking lifts housing build here, I don't know when I'll start a new one, but basically when I get to a bottom lift, I'll be following the advice of Derby Brickwork. You know, I've got a stapler. I've had one for years, but I'm going to use that, and I'm going to leave blocks out because those guys, they're the neatest fucking Avant houses I've ever seen compared to the shit I see on this site. Fuck me, it's like, Jesus, I won't like those guys on my site. Fuck me, they'd take all the work and it'd be all fucking gleaming, so that'd be no good for me. So yeah, watch Derby Brickwork. Derby Brickwork have some neat tray cleaning tactics when it comes to these type of houses, and they get them up really quick as well, so that's it's always nice to see someone building the same houses you're building. I'll have to actually look at the videos a bit more. They don't make proper videos, which annoys me. They make silly shorts. They should make proper videos, but you know, they get fucking enough views as it is just making shorts. Why would they want to put effort in and make a video that takes you a couple hours to make? And I know the feeling, so it's you know, I don't get a lot of credit for the effort I put in for these long 40-minute videos, but obviously YouTube, my YouTube's growing steadily. You know, I get about 10 or 15 subs a day, which is easy enough for me. You know, if I can get 100 subs a week, wow, I'm flying. So it is one of them things that, you know, it ain't always, you know, your content don't always reflect the popularity, or, you know, don't help you grow the most. Some of my fucking easiest videos I made, like I did pick and dip with a soldier that's got 40k views. It took me about fucking 30 seconds to make when I was on day work pissing about. It's one of those, you know, stuff that you put effort in, you don't always, you know, reap the benefits straight away, but, you know, over time people find the videos, and hopefully if they like them, they'll stick around. And I can't wait to bring some more sort of informational videos, you know, like the tray video, but, you know, in a bit better format. Yeah, that's basically what I'm wanting to do. Also, I'm going to do some more recording tomorrow. I've probably got another video's worth on this Gable, running some brickworking. I haven't got that much footage, but I think I've got at least another video's worth. If not, you'll be seeing the next Bricklaying vlog, which will be probably 2 days after this one, so it'll probably be Friday. I'll see the next one. I'm going to do some headcam tomorrow when you lads here, so hopefully it don't mind being recorded. But I'm going to do some block work. I'm going to show you guys how I build block corners on these 440 thermalites. It's going to be raining, bear in mind, so I'm going to have my weather cover on, and you're just going to see what it's like laying block work in the rain. I've never been a fan of working in the rain, but I've never been really on houses. On houses when I've been a one-on-one, I've always been in footings or walls, because obviously that's sort of the work you get. A lot of one-on-ones get given. Luckily, with this site being so desperate for bricklayers, they're basically taking any old fucking anyone who says they're a bricklayer. But that's why I've got a job. Way, but no. Basically, you know, I'm in a situation now where I'm getting through these houses pretty quick, and I can get to show you guys, you know, different scenarios on, you know, when you're working on your own doing block work, or, you know, just on different weather conditions as well. You know, that's a big thing that obviously mystifies tons of bricklayers. They don't know when to fucking work and when to go home. I was in a similar situation, but I have covered all the blocks up today on the inside. My dad's loaded out everything bar probably one pack, because I was in the way building the front today. But yeah, I've got them all loaded, brick jackets on them all, or brick shields we're using. It's like a snide brick jacket. Brick shields on every stack of blocks. We've got about 200 and probably got over 250 blocks to lay, probably more like 280. I think I counted up 280 we needed, at least, so I think I've got over 200 in there so far. So if the new lad turns up, you know, we shouldn't have a problem. And I'm going to get laying in the rain, so we're going to be laying in the rain tomorrow. I'm going to take I've got quite a few hoodies. I think I have anyway. I've got any hoodies, Mel?
I don't know.
I've got one in the car, I know that. I've got two in my bag.
I have one downstairs.
I've got two in my bag. I've got one downstairs. I've got that big fucking fleecy thing, which I'm going to be boiling in if I wear that. But I've got a few hoodies. It's going to give it to spit, so hopefully that won't be too bad. So we're going to be doing block work all day tomorrow in the rain with the headcam on. I'm going to be building corners. I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to build the back corners. Obviously the back only has 2 windows in this house type I'm building, so there's 2 windows in front, 2 windows at the back. Obviously the front has the little Z-shaped dog leg. You know, I call them Z-shapes because it's like a Z. We're going to build the back corner, or the back corner, so it only leaves the back centre pillar, and then leave that and build the front corner, build both front corners, one's a lot further down than the other, and then obviously because I've already set my windows out, I can just build under my windows, rack back under my windows, and then I've only got once the gables are up, once 4 corners gables are up, I've only got one back pillar to do, and then the back and the front Z shape, obviously up to my windows. Obviously a lot of that will be done freehand, but to be quite honest with block work, dead easy doing freehand anyway, especially these 440 thermalites, and ready mix as well makes it a little bit easier, so that won't be much of an issue. Just having less pillars will be nice, less cuts will be nice. Obviously 1 cut each side of the pillar, that'd be nice, whereas the last lift I did had 3 windows in the front, 3 windows in the back, so that's a lot more cutting, slows you down a lot more. You won't believe it, but just even cutting blocks, even for the little windows in your gables, will slow you down, which I've got on both gables this time, so you know it shouldn't slow me down too much, but you know I should easily get it done. 280 blocks in a day, you know. Fucking guys like old Cole, Top Cole, who I like to call Cole, but Collison. Top Cole's doing 500, 600 blocks in a day, he's saying, so fucking hell. I think I've seen him do it before, but you know, 300 blocks in a day is, you know, that's what every bricklayer claims he can do, so I've got to try and do that. But I think my best on heavies is 250, I think, in a day, so if I can get a 300 with a load of freehand work and pillars, you know, let's go for that. Let's try the 300. I've got a tub and a half ready mix on the scaffold. Let's give it to piss it down. We'll have a go. We'll get there at 7 and start blasting them in. So yeah, that's basically that. I'll probably slow me down a bit having set phone calls for new lad inducting, but if he turns up, we've run to a winner. If not, it's going to slow me down because my dad's not going to be able to. Well, he actually won't that much. My dad's alright when we're on block work. He just does loads of pointing. So. And he's got all the blocks loaded out, to be honest, anyway, so probably the only ones he'll have to load out are the ones at the front, but the blocks are at the front anyway, so that's going to be no problemo. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I've had enough of speaking now. I think I've been talking for half an hour straight. Our lass was probably fucking sick of my voice. So, right, I'm going to go and try and might play some PlayStation. I'll probably not. I'll probably fall asleep in about half an hour. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. if you enjoyed the video and you stuck around to the end, give us a comment. You know, leave a comment saying brick trowel, and then I'll know you stayed this long. So anyway, guys, Lass's looking at me with a terrible fucking terrible face, thinking I'm special or something, saying stuff like that. But anyway, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You're all special to me. Anyway, guys.
Yeah, more special than me.
Anyway, I will do. I'll put this fan back on. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days with another vlog.
Thought it was better to wallow and swallow my pride and admit that my life was feeling so hollow and I couldn't handle it. So I called a couple of friends and a caring specialist, and I talked through all of my problems till they started to shrink a bit. Nothing's easy, but you gotta believe me, you'll never truly be alone. It's okay to ask for help, don't need to fix it all by yourself. It's okay to find a friend to lean on and talk it out, talk it out. It's okay to ask for help instead of holding on to how you felt. So don't be afraid to go on and reach out. I know it sounds conflicting, but being sad can be addicting. Even when it's awful, still easier than committing. The face you might be missing and do the harder work of fixing.